This shot might be one of my favorite moments in The Amazing Digital Circus. Look closely at the piano here. I missed this when I first watched it, but you can see that the notes are being held down. Caine flies away from the piano, but it's still being played. But the piano playing itself is actually really important. Okay, so if you've ever seen, like, a musical movie, you've probably noticed the thing that commonly happens is that a song will start out diegetically. So there'll be a character playing a musical instrument sitting at a piano and they start playing, but then at some point that changes and you get non-diegetic music. So it starts off being believable. You can believe that a character has sat down at a piano and started singing, but by the end of the number, there's usually an entire orchestra that's being conjured out of nowhere. Everyone is doing perfectly choreographed dances, and it doesn't make any sense, but you have to kind of suspend your disbelief because you're watching a movie. And so this is what I was expecting when I first saw Caine start singing in The Amazing Digital Circus. You're thinking there's gonna be a point where it breaks, there's gonna be a point where he flies away from the piano, but the music keeps going. But when that happens, you see that he's making the piano play itself. Now, none of that would really matter if this show was the cartoon that it has the aesthetic of, because you would just suspend your disbelief. All of the music and singing and dancing is happening because it's a cartoon. But in this show, where the characters are real people trapped in a cartoon world, all of that music is real, they're experiencing everything we see, all of the cartoon violence is stuff they're actually feeling, they're being forced to do the choreography. And that might be really familiar if you've played Undertale, because video games usually have a save button. You have to be able to save the game and load up your save file. So you just have to assume that the whole save function doesn't exist in the world of the game. It's only there because you are playing a video game. So when you play Undertale for the first time, you probably just assume the same thing. There's a save button because it's a video game. It doesn't mean anything. Which is why it's so effective when the other characters in the game start to realize that you can save, and you have to start questioning the moral implications of being able to go back to your last save file. What's happening is everything that you assumed was fake under the suspension of disbelief is being thrown back in your face with a very painful realization that it was real the whole time. And that's exactly what's happening in The Amazing Digital Circus. If you think of it as a cartoonish musical number, then it's comfortable and fun and silly, but if you think of it as real things happening to real people, it becomes quite disturbing. So when Caine starts making the piano play itself, it proves that all of the music you're hearing and everything you're seeing is not just the cartoonish representation of what's happening like you'd see in a musical movie, it's what's actually being experienced by the characters. It's the same as when Jax has his mental breakdown when he realizes that it's real, because to him they've been living in this cartoon world where he's the funny one. All the characters are just archetypes. Gangle is the sad one that he's supposed to torment. But he's started to realize that they are actually real people and that he's actually been hurting them.